Hello, my beautiful Aries souls, and welcome back to Astrology Unlocked. Come closer, you magnificent warriors of the zodiac. If you are hearing my voice right now, know this with every fiber of your being. This is not a random encounter. This is a divine appointment, a moment your soul has been marching toward for a very, very long time. It is not by chance that you are here. It is because a great battle you have been fighting, perhaps one fought entirely in the silence of your own heart, has finally come to an end. One heavily fortified door has been sealed forever, and another, a gateway to your true kingdom, is now shimmering before you, waiting for you to claim your victory. Before we step across that threshold together, I want you to do something for me. Just for a moment, I invite you to pause. Take a deep, intentional breath and feel the fire within you, that sacred pilot light that has never, ever been extinguished. Let it warm you from the inside out, because what I am about to share with you is not merely a story about a rival who tried to cage your spirit. It is the story of you, a sovereign soul who has fought too long in the shadows and is now being called back to the throne. If you can feel the truth in these words vibrating in your warrior's heart, I want you to declare it right now in the comments below. Write, "I am a sacred fire." And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Astrology Unlocked and join our tribe so you never miss these cosmic dispatches designed to empower your journey. My beloved Aries, the force that once sought to undermine your power, to steal the crown from your head before you even had a chance to wear it, has been vanquished. Their game is over. No more subtle manipulations, no more draining your energy, no more planting seeds of doubt in the fertile ground of your mind. The miracle is this: the very instant their influence was neutralized, your soul, your true warrior spirit, took its first, unfettered breath in what feels like a lifetime. Can you feel it? That first taste of pure, unfiltered freedom after a long and grueling siege. Just a moment more, my friend, and you will understand with crystal clarity why every struggle, every betrayal, every moment you felt held back was forging you for this exact point in your destiny. Have you ever felt like you were constantly being watched by an unseen rival? A persistent, draining feeling you couldn't quite name. A frustrating pattern of one step forward, two steps back, as if an invisible force were blocking your path. And yet when you tried to explain it, perhaps no one truly understood the magnitude of the battle you were facing. I am here today to tell you, with all the conviction of the cosmos, you were not imagining it. You were once bound by invisible chains, forged not from your weakness, but from another's envy. They were chains of manipulation, of jealousy, and of their deep-seated fear of your immense power. And I need you to hear this loud and clear. You did absolutely nothing wrong. Your only crime was possessing too much fire, a fire so bright, so pioneering, that it forced fractured souls to either shrink back in awe or attempt the impossible, to extinguish the sun itself. But they failed. They always fail when they come up against a spirit as pure and as potent as yours. Today, I am not here to recount the pain of the past or to analyze their failed strategy. I am here to begin a sacred ceremony with you, a ritual of reclamation, a coronation. We are calling you back to the true throne of your soul, back to the unshakable confidence you've always carried, but perhaps once had to shield from the world. Stay with me, Aries, because in the moments that follow, I will guide you through that shimmering gateway, a gateway that leads to a reality where you no longer have to second-guess your power, where you no longer have to fight for your right to lead, but can hold your head high, your shoulders back, and stride into a new life where your reign finally begins. If you truly believe you were held back, not because you were weak, but because you were a force so powerful the universe had to prepare the world for your arrival, leave a whisper of fire beneath this video. I am ready to claim my throne. And if by the end of our time together, you feel a surge of your old power, a renewed sense of purpose, or simply the profound relief of being truly seen, then I invite you, come back to this space. Leave a flame emoji, a feeling, or share this message with another warrior who needs to be reminded of the fire they hold within. Sweet Aries, there are battles you've fought in this life that you have never spoken of, wounds of the spirit, betrayals that cut deep, and frustrations that burned like embers in the deepest parts of your soul. Others might only see the bold, confident, action-oriented Aries, the leader who charges ahead without fear. But they don't know how many times you've had to rise from the ashes alone, how many silent wars you've waged while everyone else was sleeping. You've stood at the front of the charge, leading the way, only to look back and find yourself standing alone. You have offered your strength to protect others, only to be left to tend to your own wounds in solitude. You have burned brightly to light the way for everyone else, while inside, you just wanted someone to ask, who is lighting the way for you? Aries, you do not love with reservation. When you commit with your entire being. When you believe in a cause, you fight for it with every ounce of your strength, holding nothing back. And because of this fierce all-in nature, you are more exposed on the battlefield of life than any other sign. And this world, tragically, is not always brave enough to stand beside a warrior with a heart as courageous as yours. You may have asked, I lead with integrity, so why am I betrayed? I fight with such passion, so why am I left to fight alone? But you must understand this, my magnificent friend. A diamond must first endure immense pressure to be formed, and your spirit is being forged into something unbreakable through every unseen battle. Aries, you are not just a symbol of action and initiation. You are the very first breath of the entire zodiac, the divine spark, where all new beginnings are born. And because of that, you carry the most profound power of creation. You are the first to charge into the unknown, to reignite hope when all seems lost. In a world full of hesitation, you are decisive action. In a society paralyzed by fear, you are the one who remembers that courage is the only way forward. A kind word, a supportive hand, a loyal ally. You don't build empires of gold, you build legions of the heart. You don't crave passive admiration, you inspire active loyalty. If today you feel that no one understands the weight you carry, remember this: you don't need to be fully understood by the masses. You need to be truly seen by your chosen few. And sometimes the first soldier who needs to see you is yourself. Be the first one to stand guard for your own heart. Be the roaring fire that warms your own spirit, instead of waiting for someone else to recognize your light. You once tried to lead everyone to hold together alliances that had long been fractured. But dear one, you weren't born to carry the dead weight of the disloyal. You were born to be yourself, fiery, passionate, and gloriously authentic. But to return to that authentic self, sometimes you must march across a landscape of old battlefields you buried long ago. A soul that needs no permission, yet clears the path for the entire world with its presence. I don't need you to be invincible right now. I just invite you to breathe deeply. Breathe as if for the first time You are allowing yourself to live without needing to be on guard. Breathe as if you are planting a victory flag on the ground of what no longer serves you, and beginning a new campaign where you can show up in your full power without apology, without dimming your light. Aries, you have fought in the shadows for too long and forgot that you were born to blaze in the sun. But that fire didn't disappear. It has only been concentrating its power, waiting for you to unleash it. Imagine yourself standing on a mountaintop, placing your hand on your heart and asking, what victory am I truly fighting for? If the answer is freedom, truth, and loyalty, then you have never lost your way. And those very values are now guiding you toward a destiny you've never dared to claim before. You may not fit into every army, but you will always belong at the head of your own. And if the space you're in demands that you shrink, give yourself permission to walk away. No explanation needed, no apologies offered. The sovereignty of your soul matters more than anything. And now, you will see why the universe has been strategically holding back the allies and the kingdom that are truly worthy of you, Aries. Have you ever defended someone who never even thanked you, ever remained loyal to a cause that wounded you simply because your integrity demanded it? That's not foolishness. That is honor. And the world is in desperate need of more warrior hearts like yours. And perhaps the universe has seen your unwavering honor. If you have ever lived by that code, then a spiritual coronation is now being prepared just for you. But the first person you need to make peace with is yourself. Forgive yourself for fighting battles that weren't yours. Forgive yourself for giving your loyalty to those who were unworthy. Forgive yourself for once believing that your fire was too much. You are worthy of a loyal tribe, of a passionate love, of a kingdom where you can finally lay down your sword at night and know that you are safe. Aries, you are the symbol of the phoenix. Like the mythical bird that rises from its own ashes, you too are learning to burn away what no longer fuels your heart. And then one morning, you'll wake up feeling the exhilarating thrill of a battle won. You are the one who ignites courage in timid hearts. You are the one who stands beside someone when they have nothing left and offers your fire to help them see in the dark. That is a divine gift. That is true power, and you don't need to do anything more to prove it. Today, if you do just one thing, let it be this. Write yourself a warrior's oath, not to dwell on past defeats, but to look back at the journey and say, I have fought through countless wars, and I am proud that I am still standing stronger than ever. Aries, you are being reborn in fire, not because of anyone else, but because of you. The loyalty you gave to others, the courage you held for the world, the passion you kept offering. It's all returning to you now, amplified and purified. If today you still feel the sting of old wounds, that's perfectly okay. Because healing for a warrior is not a destination, but the process of forging stronger armor. One day you feel a bit more powerful. One night your sleep is more peaceful. One morning you wake and your purpose feels a bit clearer. Little by little, you are being reborn. And if you wish, write something under this video. A battle you won, a fear you conquered, a dream you are now ready to fight for. Because perhaps what you share might become the spark of courage for another warrior lost in the same fog of war you once navigated. Aries, you are not alone, and you have never ever lost your fire. It's just now that fire is being called home to your heart. Not to be contained, but to be concentrated. It's becoming a focused, intentional, and unstoppable force. And the moment you let yourself wield that power again is the moment you step into a new phase of your destiny. A phase not everyone has the courage to reach. Aries, perhaps you haven't fully grasped this yet, but the very fact that you are still here, still fighting, still feeling that fire in your belly, is a profound signal from the universe that you have passed a great trial of spirit. Not everyone keeps a courageous heart after experiencing betrayal. Not everyone still believes in victory after suffering a deep loss. And not everyone has the strength to keep marching forward while carrying the scars of past battles. But you, Aries, you did. You don't need to stand on a pedestal to be seen as a leader. You don't need to shout to have your power recognized, because the nature of true fire is that it commands attention in the most profound way, and the fire inside you is beginning to blaze, not just to be noticed, but to awaken your own spirit and the spirits of those who are destined to follow you. Some blessings don't arrive with a grand announcement. They come like a morning you wake up, and the feeling of dread is finally gone, replaced by a surge of energy, like a deep breath that feels full of power, like a sudden flash of insight that shows you the clear path forward just when you thought you were lost. Dear Aries, not all rewards come as trophies, titles, or a new partner by your side, but there is one kind of reward that, if you recognize, it will change the very fabric of your reality. There is a reward called unshakable purpose. There is a reward called freedom from past defeats. There is a reward called becoming your most powerful self without fear of judgment. The universe owes you nothing. But because you have given more courage than you've received, because you have protected your inner fire, even when the world tried to douse it, you are now stepping into a time when every seed of action you once planted will begin to erupt from the ground. You may not see the full harvest immediately, but I believe if you stand still for just a moment, you will feel it. A new destiny is powerfully taking shape in the very core of your soul. Imagine your spirit as a forge. After a long time of being hammered by challenges, the fires are now roaring with purpose. And when the heat is just right, the master plan begins to take shape. That divine plan is your reward. It doesn't need to be forced. It only needs your focused action. It doesn't need your doubt. It only needs your faith in your own power. Aries, the universe is returning to you the energy you once fiercely gave, but in a higher, more potent form. Not the same kind of loyalty, but a sacred allegiance from a true soul tribe. Not a fleeting opportunity, but a divine mandate to lead you to the land where you will build your empire. And in that roaring fire, a truth is waiting for you to wield it. There's something you must know. The most sacred reward doesn't come to make you comfortable. It comes to remind you who you are, so that you no longer measure yourself by the battles you've lost, but by the fire you've kept, even through the darkest nights. Astrology calls this the cycle of the sovereign warrior. For Aries, when you have completed enough lessons in leadership, in betrayal, in resilience, you begin to enter a stage of power convergence. This is the time when you no longer need to seek out your destiny. Everything that is yours by divine right will be drawn to you. And what's right might just be a soul you were once allied with in a lifetime long, long ago. No more forcing only powerful, decisive strides forward. Aries, if you find yourself attracting powerful new allies, positive synchronicities, and opportunities appearing out of nowhere, know that it's not luck. It's the law of magnetism. When you heal your warrior's heart on the inside, everything in your external world begins to transform, to reflect your reclaimed power. And if lately you've felt like the path ahead is being cleared, when old obstacles begin to crumble on their own, when relationships that once drained you suddenly hold no power over you, when you breathe deeply and no longer feel the need to justify your existence to anyone, then that is the undeniable sign that you are stepping into a new field of energy. You don't have to prove your worth anymore. You don't have to hold on to what has passed. You don't have to win anyone's approval. You only need to live in alignment with your soul's mission, because the true reward is the freedom to be unapologetically you. Ask yourself, if I were not afraid of being seen as too ambitious, what would I build? If I were no longer bound by the memory of betrayal, who would I trust? If I believed I was destined for greatness, what would I allow into my life? Write it down. Do not hesitate, because those answers are the commands you are sending to the universe. Aries, have you ever wished for an ally who could understand you without needing an explanation, that there was a kingdom you belonged to where you didn't have to diminish your power to fit in, that there was someone who could simply look at you and already know you are hiding battle fatigue behind your smile? All those if-only wishes are being forged into your new reality, not in the way you expected, but in the way your spirit truly needs, because you have earned it. A life that needs no justification, a loyalty without question, a journey where every step is a conquest. Receive your reward with courage. No need to hesitate, not with doubt, but with the certainty of a true leader. Gratitude for not breaking. Gratitude for still believing in your own strength. Gratitude for still keeping an honorable heart in a dishonorable world. Dear Aries, if you are still listening, I believe the coronation has already begun within you. Someone is thinking of you with respect in their eyes. A door of opportunity is preparing to swing open just as you've stopped trying to knock it down. A small miracle is taking shape in a place you're unaware of. And if something inside you is stirring with a powerful new energy, write it down. A short line, an affirmation, one thing you are proud of yourself for today. Share it with the world, not for recognition, but so that your fire may multiply when it is shared. Aries, the reward is coming. And this time, you don't have to fight for it. Just be yourself. Just keep leading. Just be present with all the passion and courage you have held on to. But before you receive what you truly deserve, maybe you need one last time to look back at the battles that made you. Aries, you ever lived through days where the world felt like a cage, even when no one held a key? If you ever sat alone at night, unable to rest, because your fighting spirit was still on high alert? If you ever walked away from someone, not because you stopped caring, but because you refused to betray yourself again, then please let me say this from the heart of a fellow warrior spirit. Not one of your scars was in vain. Not 1 ounce of your courage was meaningless. Every time you chose honor instead of revenge, every time you took the high road, instead of stooping to their level, you were forging your own soul into a blade of pure light. I don't believe in empty promises. I believe in souls like yours still standing proudly among the ruins. I believe in the fire within you, even if it's been challenged time and time again. I believe that the universe doesn't side with the loudest voices, but with the spirits most loyal to their own truth. You may have charged into battle. No one followed. No one asked if you were weary, but you fought anyway. You led, you protected. You opened your heart, even though it bore the marks of previous wars. And what makes you extraordinary is not that you never fell, but that you always got back up, more powerful than before. Aries, you have fought in silence for long enough. You've played the strong one for so long that you forgot you too need a fortress of support. Now is the time the universe begins to signal you, not with whispers, but with undeniable signs, an unexpected ally, a resource arriving just in time, a look of genuine respect from a former rival. This isn't luck. This is a cosmic response. The universe is returning the fragments of power you once courageously expended. And if you wonder why I want you to know this, you weren't chosen because you were unbreakable. You were chosen because among the souls that faced the darkness, you were one of the few who never let it extinguish your fire. You may have thought, maybe I wasn't powerful enough so that victory didn't last. But the truth is, some things fall away, not because you lack worth, but because you are being prepared for a much greater empire. The alliances that betrayed you came to show you the weaknesses in your defenses, so you could rebuild them with impenetrable strength. The missed opportunities came to teach you that you deserve grander conquests. Aries, you don't need to shrink your ambition to keep a fragile peace. You are a wildfire, and a wildfire never has to apologize for its glorious transformative power. Today, if you still feel an empty space in your command tent, I want you to place your hand on your heart and declare, I deserve loyalty that doesn't require me to sacrifice my integrity. I deserve to be chosen to lead, even if I am not the most conventional choice. I deserve to exist in this life in my full, blazing glory simply because I am me. You have fought enough. You have proven enough. You have endured enough in silence. And now, you no longer need to justify your fire. The planets are moving. Mars, your ruler, the planet of action and war, is moving into a position that clears your path. Saturn, the planet of karma, has moved away from the sector that blocked your advance. Everything is being rearranged, not to reward you, but to return to you the dominion that always belonged to you, but you once had to relinquish in order to grow. Dear Aries, love will return, but this time it no longer comes to test your strength. It comes to be your trusted second in command. Opportunities will open up, but not because you outwork everyone else, but because you are now wise enough to choose the battles that truly matter. And your light, your true fire, will return, but not with applause, but through a peaceful sleep, knowing you are victorious, through a surge of pure power in your veins, through a stranger looking at you and stepping aside as if they've recognized a true sovereign for a very long time. Aries, a karmic victory is approaching, not with the roar of cannons, but with the focused, powerful hum of a finely tuned engine of war ready to be unleashed. If you want to do something right now, write down a goal you thought was lost and declare to the universe, if this is my destiny, clear the path for my victory. You don't need to scream. You only need to vibrate with unshakable certainty. The universe is not deaf to a warrior's call. You only need to be clear in your command. You only need to be willing to open your heart to your own greatness. Dear Aries, you have gone so far without anyone truly knowing the cost. You have loved so fiercely without needing it to be returned. You have shown mercy to the vanquished without ever being thanked. And because of that, the universe is rewriting the rules of the game for you. Not in the way you expected, but in the way your warrior's heart truly deserves.